Welcome back, everybody, to Empyrion Galactic Survival on version 1.1. This is the Getting Started tutorial series, and I am an old guy gaming, at least last I knew I was. Anyway, all right, guys, so in this episode, we are going to start by building our pad back here, our landing pad, and then after that, our focus is going to switch over to doing some building. And we're going to look at building hover vessels and small vessels in particular. They're similar in a lot of ways, but there are a couple of differences too. So we'll take a look at both of those things. So before we get started, I do have a couple of comments and notes to go over with everybody. So let me bring that up over on my other screen here. So one person said in the comments regarding reputation, if you are not friendly or honored with another faction and you hang out too long in their territory, so you loiter in their territory, you will also take a rep hit. And it tells you this on this screen here too. If you look about 2/3 of the way down, it says stay in Talon territory with any vessel. You get minus 50 rep every 5 real-time minutes if the reputation is neutral or below. And that's true for all of them too. Except for in the case of Xerax, it's only minus 25. What about Polaris? It's also only minus 25 with Polaris too. So I guess the Talon, you lose twice as much from them. So just be aware of that. Once you hit friendly and above, then it doesn't matter. And it also specifically says with any vessel. So apparently that doesn't matter if you're on foot in their territory. I never actually paid attention to that specific detail. But anyways, that's very important to know. So keep that in mind too when it comes to reputation. You don't want to hang out in their territory for more than 5 minutes in a vessel if you are not friendly or better, or you will take a rep hit. Okay, so yeah, that was a very good comment. Thank you for that one. Another person commented and just suggested that with akua berries, that you can also make wine with those. So these are akua berries here. And then what you could do after that is you can actually take the wine and sell it to the vendors and make a little bit of early game money. So that's a nice little tip too. One thing I will say about alcohol in this game, you got the akua berry wine, and you also have totally overpowered root beer is what it's called, but it is actually alcoholic. And unless they've changed this, when you drink alcohol in this game, you get one hell of a hangover, and it lasts for quite some time too. So, it's something you probably don't want to do right before you go into combat on foot in a POI or something like that. So just be aware of it. And maybe they've toned it down. I actually haven't. I kind of avoid alcohol in this game. Just for that very reason, but maybe they toned it down. I don't know. I haven't actually been drunk in this game for quite some time, so just be aware of that. Okay, so that pretty much takes care of, that takes care of all of our notes and comments for this time around. I think. Trying to think if I was going to do or say something else as well. Yeah, I think that's it. If I'm forgetting something, I apologize. All right, so let's see. How's our garden doing? I think I finished planting this off camera. I can't remember. It's actually been 4 or 5 days since I recorded the last tutorial episode. I've been working on, my normal Let's Play series on Empyrion, and also on 7 Days to Die, because I also have a series going on with that game. So I think I finished planting this off camera. So basically we have 3 sections here all set up for ration production, okay, to make these things, these emergency rations. And so essentially one section here, one 3x3 section, 9 plots, will make the ingredients for 1.5 rations. So since we have 3 in total, we can make a total of 4.5 rations. Okay. And then this plot over here is just some of the extra crops that we might want or need for other things. So I've got a couple of corn plots here. We got 3 aloes, which we need for medical. We got a couple of sweeteners, the alien honey, and a couple of mushrooms, which are also needed for both medical and some dishes. So we're going to start with this, And then, you know, you can always change this up later. You can pick up a sprout with your, you know, in the same way that you would pick up any other block, just use retrieve blocks, and it does not destroy the sprout. It will, however, obviously completely reset the plant, so it'll have to regrow all over again. So just, you know, do keep that in mind. So I think our garden is in good shape. I also painted the interior corners too. I hadn't done that on camera, so that's something I noticed after I was done that I had missed as well. Okay, so our farm is in good shape. We just need to wait for the sucker to grow now. Oh shit, we're getting attacked by Xerax again. All right, let's get in here. Do I have ammo in here? That didn't take long, did it? I do have ammo in here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is let's hop in this guy and see if we can tell, first of all, where they're coming from. Okay, so they're coming from the southwest. We're gonna let our cannons do most of the work on these guys, but we can also, you know, provide a little bit of fire support too if we need to. But I'm gonna back up because I don't want this vessel to take too many hits. It's not very strong. And let's let our cannons show these guys that they should not be messing with us. That's a bad idea. At least I hope that's the way it'll work out. It looks like we could potentially have 3 drones incoming this time. Last time we had the troop transport. So what they'll do is they'll alternate between sending troop transports, dropping off troops that'll try and hack your base, and just the drones themselves. So our cannons are starting to go to work on them. There's a total of 4 drones. Wow, check that out. Okay, and I'm pretty sure we'll be okay. See, they're shooting at me, and I can easily dodge. Well, I can easily dodge their rockets. But this is kind of a good thing in a way, because what I'm doing is I'm drawing them away from the base. The miniguns drones are a lot harder to completely dodge. The rockets are super easy to dodge. So we'll just kind of keep, you know, playing or distracting them while our cannons do the dirty work. There we go. Okay. That worked out quite well. So yeah, 2 cannons can do a pretty damn good job of defending your base from the earlier attacks in the game itself. So now we've got some juicy loot, and they're all just right over here in a nice, neat pile for us. Look at that. Look at that. Okay. Oh, we need to put our inertials on. There we go. Inertials. Let's talk about that since I just did it and needed to do it. If you look in the lower right-hand corner, where you see, you know, like the fuel gauge and the power gauge and that sort of thing, there's an icon that shows a picture of a ship, and it has some arrows pointing up and down and forward and back. Okay, so it's in the lower right-hand corner. Hold on a second. Let me close this. And and this applies to both hover vessels and to ships. So right now I have my I call them inertial, you know, like inertial dampeners or inertial rockets. And essentially what's happening is the ship is working to hold us steady. So as soon as I stop moving, it stops and stays steady in one place. If I turn the inertials off, actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's look at something here. What does the game actually call those? Auto brake. Okay, so the game calls it the auto brake. It's the same concept, but notice that it's the I key that controls that, okay? So if I press the I key, notice that it turns off the forward, backward, and down thrusted inertials, but the up thrust is still on. If I press the I again, then it turns all of them off, and now I'm just kind of drifting. And sometimes you actually want that. It can be very useful, for example, for more fine-tuned maneuvering in combat and stuff like that. So yeah, and that applies to ships, to small vessels, to capital vessels, and it also applies to hover vessels. And then to turn it back on, I just press the I key again for inertial, and now my inertials, or as the game calls it, auto brake, is back on. Okay, so there we go. We learned something about operating a vessel in this game. Now, we need to loot these guys because they will despawn in not too long, so you don't have a whole lot of time to do that. Yeah, it'll be removed in 2 minutes. So we're going to basically Shift F. Ooh, we got a powder coil out of that. Shift F, Shift F, and Shift F. And we got a flux coil. That's good loot. These guys in particular, this is really valuable loot because you need this, you know, to make some of the higher end items in the game itself. So we got a power coil, some energy matrices, a little bit of fuel, some flux coils, a capacitor, and a couple of other, you know, things, some ammo and that sort of thing. So always, when you can, always try and loot the drones after you kill them because they can have some decent stuff in them. It's not usually spectacular, like, oh my god, I can't believe I just got that epic laser rifle thing, but it's always useful stuff, right? It's always useful stuff that they're going to give you. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go... I think we're going to park our hover vessel over here for the moment. Let's just park it over here. And we're going to cut the power because we don't have anything in a refrigerator right now. Yeah, we have a fridge, but we don't have anything in it. Oh, look at that. We lost a block, too. We lost a block from those drones. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my multi-tool and select the repair option. And I'm just going to kind of squirt over the vessel and repair the blocks that still do remain, which is most of them. Looks like we only really probably lost one block in total. It's very difficult once you get within range to dodge the minigun drone. So usually... in that case, you are gonna take a couple of hits, but the rockets are super easy to dodge, and make sure you do dodge them because if they do connect with you, you're gonna get hurt. Okay, so yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. Next, what we're gonna do is we're going to go ahead and create ourselves a pad that we can then work on. So I have inside of here, I got 327 blocks in there and another 268 in there. So I think what we'll do is let's hit F4 and go to our base and let's select the overflow box. Wait, what? Overflow. And we have another 93 concrete blocks in here. I'm going to put... do we have a... yeah, we do have an ammo box. Okay, what I usually do, guys, once I have an ammo box... is I'll store any additional ammo inside of it, and also sometimes I'll put fuel and even O2 in there because they're all like consumable, you know, fuel-based items. The main purpose of the ammo box, of course, is to provide ammo to your weapons, but you can store other stuff in here too. And so in my mind, because it's an ammo box, it just makes sense to store all of my ammo, my excess ammo, in there. So I'm going to go to the base on this side, and we're going to go back to that overflow. And I'm also going to put these rockets in there because we might end up using those later. And we could put the fuel in there. Let's also go to the output, and we'll put this fuel in there too. Good. All right. So you don't have to do that. Like I said, it's just the way I like to do it. So, you know, I know that anything that's in the ammo box is essentially going to be either ammunition itself or fuel if I decide to do that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I mean, we could even put the water containers in there, but we want to leave those actually in the input. Looks like we got a flux coil earlier too. I don't remember exactly when that happened, but it's good that it did. It's good that it did. Let's go to the input, and these are all component items that are used to make stuff, so we want those to always go in the input for our constructor. Let's go ahead and do a little sort here. I like to sort by mass in my inventory, and I usually like to sort with the heaviest first, so that way I can kind of keep an eye on, you know, my weight, my volume, that sort of thing. You could also do the same thing, you know, with volume as well. Okay, but I usually just do mass. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect to the overflow. Remember, when you connect to something on wireless, it always has to be on the right-hand side. I can select other containers on the left-hand side, but I can't wirelessly connect to them. I can only wirelessly connect to stuff that's on the right-hand side. So we're going to connect to overflow, and we're going to put these blocks down there, and then let's also put as many of these as the bin can handle. So we can handle almost 200 at a time. In our own inventory, we'd only be able to handle about 5 of those at a time. Okay, cool. It is time, guys. It's time for us to make a pad, a landing pad, or a docking pad or whatever you want to call it, that we are then going to use to do our building on. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to just stand right here. We'll get up on our drone with the F5 key. And let's go ahead and set our symmetry plane in place. And we'll put that on the YZ plane and make sure it's right in the center of our base there. Press the T key to get to our wireless menu. And let's go ahead and lay down the center blocks first. And let's see, how far out do we want to go with this? Let's see, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, we have to be careful because we're getting off the ground here. I'm going to press N as in Nancy, go to the debug menu, and put structural integrity on. I did show you guys this. I believe I've showed this to you in a past video. And so that way we can kind of keep an eye on our structural integrity because, you know, as the blocks start to extend out with no support underneath them, they get weaker and weaker each time you lay one down. So let's count this out again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's go out 15, 13, 14. Now on the 15th one, I'm going to click and hold the mouse button down, and I'm going to plant this one into the ground to provide some support there. So yeah, let's go with 15. We'll start with that, and we'll see how things go. Now this guy is going to cause us a problem. If we try and put some blocks around it, what's going to happen is it isn't going to work. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to press F to pick up the debris. And in doing so, I might, depending upon the material, get a little bit of that material back. Some people will, in this game, if they want to get a whole bunch of raw materials from salvaging very quickly, they'll collapse a structure. And then if they pick up that structure, they'll get like all the steel plates and so forth. Well, no, I shouldn't say they won't get all of them. They'll only get a small portion of them. But I mean, if you collapse 500 blocks, you're going to get a nice little supply of steel plates from those. So that is a technique that some people will use. Okay, guys, we've got to remove this plant. It's causing us trouble. So what we're going to do is go bring our drill out. We're going to make sure that we're on just normal drill, and we're going to just squirt that. No, I'm sorry, I got the wrong thing. We're going to actually have to shoot this with a weapon. That's right. To get rid of it. So I'm going to actually get my shotgun out. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so if you need to remove an environmental object, like in that case a plant or a tree, or you know, if it was alien honey that was in our way, I don't think this will be a problem. But that was because that was like a harvestable item, then you have to basically destroy it. Okay. Now, let's get over here. Let's get our body up on top of our thing here. And I'm going to access my multi-tool, and I'm going to retrieve these blocks. Pick them back up. What's the matter? How come my tool's not working here? I'm pressing the button and it isn't working. Oh, that's weird. It's expending the ammo when I shoot it, but it's not actually shooting. What in the hell? What if we go to salvage? Is this working? Yeah, that's working. It's got plenty of fuel. Yeah, that's got to be a bug. All right, let me log in, out, and back in. I'll be right back. They're actually gone. It was like total visual glitch. Okay. Yeah, weird. Total visual glitch. I wonder, too, if this might have had something to do with that as well. Because these blocks actually laid down, too, as you can see. All right, let's get these back on our toolbar. And let's get our symmetry plane back in place here. That's the N key, N as in Nancy. Get up in my drone with F5, and we'll put those blocks there. Okay, because we didn't need the ramp. The reason I didn't pick up the ramp first, in case you were wondering, is because my inventory was completely maxed out, so I had to lay a couple of blocks down first. All right, now, let's see. Now we have to figure out how wide we want to go with this. So, if we go 1, 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What does that do over here? Yeah, that looks a little weird because it's not even on this side. So, I mean, unless we wanted to, another thing we could do is we could extend the platform further this way than this way. This doesn't necessarily have to be the center line, but I think, you know, for now, I think we will make it that. So let's go ahead and pick that block back up and that block back up. What I think we're going to do here, guys, is we're going to fill all of this in too and just make this an actual patio. We won't do that right this second, but I think that's how we'll deal with that. Let's put our debug back on. So in debug tab, show structural integrity. Excuse me. And then press T to get back to our wireless menu and pop a supporting block down there. Okay. Now, I've showed this technique to you a couple of times now, but if you hold down Control and then click and hold the left mouse button and drag, you can lay a plane of blocks. But I'm not going to go any further than that because notice that these blocks out here aren't going to have proper support. And if I go too far, we're going to get a collapse. So let's also, let's see, how many blocks out was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so this is actually our center here. Let's go ahead and put these blocks here. And then, how far out this way do we go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so we'll just go with 3, 4. Let's go put a support block right here, we'll say. Okay. We don't have to worry about that on this side because this side is, you know, touching the ground. So that's not causing us a problem over there. Now, I think what I might... Well, let's just do this. Let's put these in and we'll see what it's looking like here. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a support block there too. And what we could do, since we did that, is let's move this block over one. There we go. That way it's kind of more evenly spaced. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go out this way just a bit. We should be able to go all the way there without it collapsing. And then we'll do this. Drag those all the way down into the ground. And then we should be able to safely fill in the rest. But you know what, though? I might also... Here, let's do this. I might put one here, too. Oh, I should have... let's redo that. We want to plant that down into the ground like that. Okay, good. That should work. And now we should be able to just do our plane here. Hold down Control, Shift and drag, and get the rest of the blocks in, except for that we ran out of blocks. So we got a little bit of a weak spot here, but that's nothing to worry about. You know, it doesn't really become a problem until it's, you know, it's getting into the red. That's when you really need to be concerned. So let's go. We're going to have to do this in our body because we can't access portable constructors with the wireless menu. And let's go ahead and put another bit of blocks down there. Get back up on our drone, press T, and fill the rest of this in. There we go. Okay, cool. So we got ourselves a nice little pad here that's plenty large enough for a small hover vessel and a small small vessel. Now what we might want to do is we might want to put some stairs maybe here and maybe here. So if we're on foot, we can get up there easily. Or what we could do, actually what might make more sense is to build a ramp, maybe on both ends. Yeah, let's do it that way. That way, I mean, a hover vessel can get up here. You can, you know, it'll boost up high enough, but it's better. It will be better just to have a ramp. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and make a ramp that's 5 blocks. Yeah, we'll make a ramp that's 5 blocks. What's it doing over here? So, you know what? I'm going to actually turn this off now. Well, let's turn that off too, but let's turn off the symmetry plane for this next part. For here, what we're going to do is... Where's the center? I'm just going to temporarily put that block there. We don't need a ramp at all over here, but just, you know, just to make it look nice, I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose the ramp A block, rotate it with the Int key, and then put a ramp on this side too. We got a little bit of grass cutting through there. So there's 2 ways we can deal with that. We can either use our tent, or we can use the survival tool. We do not want to use the drill to remove that grass because you're almost guaranteed to make a divot in the ground. I must have thrown our tent away. Oh, no. No, I didn't. It's out here. Now, that tent also, by the way, guys, was functioning as our spawn point. If you die in this game, have I died yet? I haven't. Look at that. Yay me. If you die in this game, you have a few options. One option is to spawn back at your base, assuming you have a spawn point. Okay? Or you can spawn back at your tent if it's down, or you can spawn near where you died, near your backpack. Or you can spawn like in the nearest actual space station. So you have a few options. To set your base as a spawn point, notice that right now where it says home spawn, I can't select that. It's grayed out. And that's because you need either what's called a clone chamber or a medical device. Let's go into F3 for a minute. Make sure we're on base, and you access those things here. So notice that it says clone chamber sets a spawn point. The clone chamber can be made right away, and it's pretty cheap to make, but all it does is allow you to spawn back in the base. A medical device does the same thing, but it also will heal you. So did we loot one of those? I think I'm getting this confused with my Let's Play series. So what I'm actually going to do, I usually skip the clone chamber altogether. And as soon as I can make or find a medical device, I just use that. So let's actually, I should have had this turned off so it's not wasting power, but can't think of everything all the time. Let's select base and then go here. And, oh, we got to learn it first. Sorry. Whoops. Hit F3. Make sure we're on base, and let's learn the medical device. Notice it says medical devices, and I'll show you what that means here in just a moment. Now we'll go into the constructor. We'll select the medical devices, and we'll cook that up. And this actually isn't very expensive either. It's actually quite cheap considering how useful it actually is. So we'll let that cook up. It's making all the components first, and then it is just about done. Beautiful. Okay, the medical device is pretty heavy. It's 1.3 tons, and you might not be able to put it in your own inventory, but that's okay. We don't need to. We just use the wireless menu. What we're going to do now is we're going to put this, let's put it over here by our armor locker in our ATM machine. And you can rotate it like any other block. But let's put it this direction. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I think I want that to be the other direction. So, if you place a block down and then you want to rotate it later, you don't have to pick it back up and redo it. You can get out your multi-tool and select this change and rotate option. Be careful with this though. Be really careful with this, because sometimes what will happen is when you rotate something, the selection box might pop over to a different block depending upon how it's rotating, and then if you keep pressing the button, then you're going to start rotating other blocks that you didn't mean to do. I might have showed you guys this before, I can't remember, so I'm showing it to you again, or maybe for the first time. So we could rotate the medical bay that way if we want to. Yeah, and I think we will. And then let's also rotate this armor locker this way, so they're kind of both facing the same direction. Okay? Once you're done with the rotate, I recommend that you right-click and put it back on the retrieve blocks, just so you don't accidentally rotate something else later on that you did not intend to. Notice, though, that change and rotate, it tells you that it only works on essentially one block. Anything that takes up a 1x1 block. I can't rotate this because this actually takes up a 4x4 block area. Or if you had, like the generator is a 2-block area, you can't rotate that either. So it only works on one block. All right, so keep that in mind. Now, oh, look at that. We've got 0.2 body radiation. I think we got that from the radiation fog that we had a couple episodes ago. So I'm going to go to the shower, take a shower, and remove my body radiation. That was in the upper right-hand corner, by the way, in case you forgot where to look at that. Let's turn our light on, too. Okay, so we've got ourselves basically a medic station. Now, the medic station, if I click on it, it'll heal me back to 100% health. So really, really useful for that purpose alone. But that's not all it can do. It also can basically heal any of the diseases and ailments that you can get in this game. But what you have to do is you have to select a specific device for that purpose. When you have a larger base and you have plenty of room and plenty of CPU, you're generally going to want to make individual medical devices for each potential ailment. When you're starting out and you don't have a lot of room and you don't have a lot of CPU, all you need is one, because then what you can do is you can retrieve the block. Okay, let's go back into here. We were in output, I think, right? Yeah. Retrieve the block, but instead of setting it back down, if you right-click, now you've got the other medical station types. So medical station 1 will heal or cure all of those nasty things that you see in the list there. Pause the video if you need to see what those are. Medical 2 will heal or cure all of those nasty things that can happen. Pause the video if you need to see what they are. Medical 3 will cure all of those nasty things. And of course, Medical 4 will cure the nastiest stuff that you can get. These are the worst things. Okay, so if, for example, I got radiation sickness, if I can make it back to my base, what I do is I pick up my medic station, because this is what you'll normally leave it at, and reset it back down as Medical Station 4. Right? I set it down. I just press F on it. It heals whatever it was that, oh, I guess we said radiation burn, right? That was, that was afflicting us. And then we simply pick it back up again and set it back down as the medical station. There you go. So you really only need one of those. Very nice. Now, the other thing is, because I have this set down now, it also functions as my spawn point. See, now I have the option to select this base as my home spawn, so that if I die when I'm out and about, I can respawn right back inside of my base nice and safely. Very cool. Okay, we need to put a little extra fuel in here. Let's take a look and see what our power situation currently is. So currently we have nothing in our batteries because all of the power that the solar has been generating has just gone towards keeping the base powered. But had we not put the solar power in place, we could potentially be completely out of fuel by now, or at least it would be there'd be much less. So basically the solar power is supplementing our base. This is telling us that we currently are not getting any solar power because it's nighttime. However, the sun is about ready to start coming up, or is it going down? Yeah, no, yeah, this is sunset. So we're not going to see any power at all for the next 12 hours or whatever. What is it? Yeah, 12 hours. But when the sun comes back up, then the solar power will start to kick in, and then again, it'll supplement our fuel. So if you don't have any power at all in your batteries, then you're 100% on fuel overnight. But as soon as morning comes, then it'll start to supplement it again. How do I get more power in my batteries? Well, you put more solar panels down, and you also put more capacitors down. I think we only added 2. So what I would actually potentially do later on is I would add more capacitors. So we only have 2, so I might add 4. If I add 4 and maybe increase the solar panels, then I'll probably start being able to store a little bit of excess in the battery, so I have some solar power to continue supplementing my power overnight. All right, so anyway, let's go here, and I'm going to click, I'm on my base, I'm going to click fuel, and that'll take me right to the fuel tank. I'm going to go select the base on this side, and I'm going to go to the ammo box, because remember I put all the fuel in here, and then we're going to squirt those right into there to refuel our base. Excuse me. We're starting to get kind of low on promethium fuel. We've got 41 promethium in there, and I put a little bit of extra in here just as some spare. You know what I want to do with that, though? I think I'm actually going to put that in the overflow bin now. No, not that. This. In fact, all of this stuff could probably go in the overflow bin. This should go in ammo, if we're going to stay consistent with how we're storing things, as should this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some more promethium fuel, because we are getting kind of low. So I'm going to go to the constructor, select the all filter, select the components filter, and then queue up some promethium pellets. So this is an output count of 2, so let's go ahead and make 100. Okay, we'll let that cook up. Is this guy doing anything? Oh, you know what I should do, actually, guys, now that I think about it? Let's cancel that. Here, let's just cancel that. We should actually have the portables make this, because then it's free. Free meaning that I'm not using my base's power to run this in order to make fuel. So we're going to turn that off. I'm going to go out here, and we're just going to divide this up amongst these constructors, these portables, and then it doesn't cost us anything at all to generate the fuel. There we go. Okay. So yeah, even after you have your base and you got your constructors and you got everything going for you, keep these things and continue to use them to create promethium packs, to create blocks if you want to create biofuel, though you probably, at some point, you're probably going to stop using biofuel, and make use of them because they're still very useful. They do have to be outside, though, is the thing. They can't be inside your base. More specifically, they have to be on the ground. Okay, so let's get back to business here. So we've got our pad here, and we were working on making our ramps, weren't we? So let's reconnect back to the overflow, which has our blocks in it. And oh yeah, right. We were gonna mow the lawn. Man, that was one hell of a sidetrack, wasn't it? It was a good sidetrack though. We learned some good stuff, but it's a sidetrack nevertheless. We must have put the tent in here. Yeah. Okay, so let's... That was like, what, a 15-20 minute sidetrack? But we learned some good stuff. All right, let's just put our tent down right here. And we'll pick it up with Shift F. Actually, you know what? Let's put that in our own inventory, because otherwise it's going to keep going into here and being a pain in the ass. Press T. Okay, and then we'll just set it down and get the grass as mowed as we can. It's kind of not hitting this stuff here. I put it out this way a little more. Okay, well, plan B is survival tool. Let's just make, well, I mean, it's free. What the hell? It doesn't take that long. And we'll just use the survival tool. I'm going to put this, whoops, I'm going to put this back in the overflow bin. And we can use the survival tool to just squirt this little grass out of here. That's purely just for aesthetics. I don't like grass growing through blocks in any survival game. And so, yeah. Okay, so let's also create a ramp over here. So this is our center point, right? Yeah. I mean, and you can, you know, if you wanted to, and sometimes I'll even do this, you could make the ramp span the entire length. But that takes a lot of blocks, and we don't have an abundance of blocks at this point, so we're not gonna go there. But you could. All right, so let's do the same thing. We're just gonna make this a 5 block ramp, and I'm gonna also. Nah, we're good with that. Okay, now let's switch to the ramp A block. Use the End key to rotate it. And then we'll squirt those in place right there. Now we need to put another normal block in place here, or set of blocks. Then we're going to right click and select ramp C medium. Put those in place. Then we're going to come down and we're going to select ramp A. Put those in place. And then once again ramp C. And we need to move our own self out of the way. Also, here, we're going to have a little bit of, are we going to have grass? We might. Let's go ahead and squirt that grass too. So make sure this is on resource drill. Now remember, you just want to barely tap it. Because if you hold the button down for too long, it'll actually put a divot in the ground, which is not what we want to have happen. Okay, let's do the same thing over here. There we go. There we go. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and finish putting the blocks in here. So we want, you know, this, we want that block there. But, you know, now we have a situation where, you know, we have a bit of a gap here. So you can handle that in one of two ways. You can either, you know, fill it in with more blocks, which is really probably the easier thing to do, but of course it uses more resources. Or we could use the filler tool on our handy dandy drill. We looked at this a couple of episodes ago. So I right click, I choose filler, and then I can actually kind of squirt some ground in there to fill that in. Something like that. And then if we go use the flattener tool, we can kind of trim it down a little bit. Actually, we might need to use the resource drill, yeah, to squirt that. We just want to be really Yeah, it's kind of going to be hard to do this, I think, because it's just really difficult to you know, to make a nice even slant with this tool. Let's just see if we can fill that part in so it's got a little more support underneath. See, that's what it does, though. Then it pops over the top and kind of screws it all up. Let's try the fine drill. The thing about the fine drill that's a pain in the ass is that you have to sit there and keep shooting the same little chunk of voxel for several seconds before it actually starts taking it down. I've never really understood why it works that way, but it does. Okay, so let's see if we can smooth this down just a little bit without going too far. Yeah, see, it's not going to behave. I mean, this is functionally fine. It's going to work just fine. It just looks like shit. You know what I mean? So what I might end up doing, see if we can... What it does is it ends up taking away parts of the train that you didn't want it to, and we don't have a fine option for filler. I mean, you just have to be really quick to try and fill it in, but then it kind of gets all messed up again. You know what, though? That's not terrible. What if we just do a quick squirt there and a quick squirt there? Yeah, I probably I probably should have just used the goddamn blocks and not mess with this, because, man, every time it just turns into such a pain in the ass. But it's a thing where, you know, you just have to keep working at it, and if you stick with it, you'll probably eventually get it to some kind of a reasonable, you know, slope that'll work for you. If the fine drill, the two things I wish the fine drill did, okay? I wish that it would only take down the area that you're actually pointing, or at least, you know, reduce the overall area. And I wish that it would do it immediately and not make me have to shoot it for 10 seconds before it actually starts to do something. Okay, well, I mean, it ain't pretty, guys, but it'll have to do. It'll have to do. The other option is I just dig the whole thing out and then actually put blocks down, but that's a little bit easier said than done too, because it's hard to control exactly what to do. Now, you know what I could do, though, is I could put some drills on a hover vessel. You can be, you know, use a pretty good deal of precision with a hover vessel, at least for right angle, you know, cuts. And what I could do is I could use that, and then I could cut a nice straight groove here, a 90-degree groove, and then I could put the blocks in. But you know what? This will work for now. This will work for now. It's not perfect, but it'll work. Okay. I was even thinking to myself, you know, we probably better not use a filler tool, because if you do, it's going to get all screwed up. And I didn't listen, and look what happened. Oh well, whatever. Let's move on. Okay, we'll finish out this side too. So we want to go with ramp A. Wait, what just happened? Ramp A. There we go. Use the in key to rotate. We'll just put a normal block here. We want ramp C. Ramp A. Our buddy's showing up here. trust that guy. Not for a minute do I trust this guy. Okay, so we kind of have the same thing going on here, but here's what we're going to do this time. We're going to choose the whole block, and we're going to see if we can get it attached right on the corner there, okay? Holding the mouse button down, and then I'm going to kind of slide this over this way and release the mouse button, and it fills most of those slots in for us. Let's go back to ramp C. Actually, no, wait. Before we do ramp C, before we do ramp C, let's go back to the normal block and fill this in while it's easier for us to get to it. Then we'll do ramp C again, and then we'll do ramp A, and we're pretty much there. We got just a little bit of a lip here. Let's squirt the grass out of here. I mean, that, you know, if we really wanted to, we could throw ramp C in there. Well, let me put that in there. There we go. Okay, good. So it just kind of follows the contour of the land. All right, guys. So we have now our pad in place, and we've got ramps on all three sides, so we can very easily get up with a motorcycle or with a hover vessel if we wanted, you know, whatever we're using. One thing we might consider doing now at this point is we might consider putting a couple of more guns out on the corners of these ramps. Because, you know, we've extended our base, and presumably we're going to have, you know, our vessels parked out here, and if the drones or the attacks come from that direction, we want to be able to reach out and touch them a little sooner. It's going to be better probably in the long run for this particular base to actually build a hangar, an enclosure for them, but that's not something we're going to, you know, do right now. So let's do one other very important thing, though. We've added quite a few blocks to this base, and we also added the medical bay earlier. We need to check our CPU and make sure that we have not gone over. Okay, we're fine, because but we are getting close. We're at 71,172, and we only have 80,000 to work with. If we were over, then I would make myself a tier 2 extension, CPU extension, to get our CPU back. You never ever want your base or your vessel to be below 100% if you can at all avoid it, because when you do that, then stuff starts not working correctly. And one of those stuffs that might not work correctly could be your gun when you need it to work while you're being attacked, right? So always keep an eye on that CPU. Now, we're going to also fill this in here. So let's just take the stairwell out altogether. We don't need it. And we might even... let's remove that block. Let's leave that one in place and see what it looks like. Okay. Let's hop in our drone. Press T. And we're going to just put a square block in here. We're going to hold down Control and drag a plane of blocks over here to fill that all in. Now, we could probably get away with leaving this as it is, rounded. So I think that'll be okay. If we came out one block further this way, you know, then I would replace it like I did over here. Because had I not done that, right, we'd have like a little corner gap here and it wouldn't look right. And of course, we no longer need these. Well, actually, you know what we'll do with those is let's turn those into singles. Press T, press 2, right click, and we're just going to use the single rails because we had the doubles on before, right? And we can put those back in place on this side so we don't accidentally trip over the patio and break our noggin down on the ground. All right, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Now, let's do a little bit of decorating with our setup here. So I'm going to select my texture and color tool. And what I want to do is I pretty much want my landing pad to have the overall texture. I'm thinking of this texture. Where am I looking at? Here. I think. Yeah. And let's also maybe make it black too. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to select the whole block option, and I'm going to select the medium paintbrush area. And then we're going to get right about here-ish or so, and we're going to squirt. Okay, we can get a little closer. Right about there. Okay, this one we'll have to do with the small brush because we don't want to risk screwing up our base. Though, yeah, I mean, if we do, it's not, we can fix it, but better not to. The other thing I could have and should have done was I should have put the symmetry plane on, because the symmetry plane will also mirror your painting. But, I mean, we're done with it now, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so that just kind of gave us our base look. For our ramps, if we wanted to, we could go with something different. So what if we select this for the ramps? Oh, we squirted over there just a little bit. It's all right. We can fix it later. When you use the large, brush like this, you'll inevitably it'll bleed over a little bit, so you just have to touch it up later. It's not a huge deal. Okay, we're going to go back to the small brush, because we have a pretty small area to work with there. Let's set that to here, like so. We'll fix that. We'll completely remove this because we haven't colored our solar pad at all. I mean, we could. There's no specific reason why I didn't, but we're not really going to worry about that right now. Let's go over here and okay, I think we're good on that. Maybe what we'll do is we'll use this texture for the supporting columns there, the little pylon thingamadoodles. Coloring and texturing is very subjective, of course. What one person thinks looks good, the other person may not. So, I just kind of experiment and find something that I think looks good and then run with it, All right. Now, we have... I'm trying to decide if I want... First of all, I don't like that gap down there so much. Can we fix that? I don't know if it's going to let us because the ground is really close. Oh, it did. Okay, good. That looks a little bit better there. We're pretty good on this side. So let's color this. You know what we could do, actually? What if we What if we actually went with this for the sides of the ramps? Oh, yeah, we're gonna... Oh. Forgot. I was on whole block. Remember, squirt it twice if the direction's not correct. Alright, I don't know... Oh, right. These are colored. Yeah, let's actually remove the color from there, too. Yeah, that's going to be hard to do. The game doesn't let you remove colors from textures. You can remove textures from colors, but you can't remove colors from textures. I think we actually went over that, didn't we, when we did those couple of creative mode episodes? No, that's not what we want. That's what we want. Yeah, I think we actually went over that. So if I want to remove the black color from here, I've got to remove the color and the texture and start over, essentially. Squirt that little spot there. At least I don't know of a way to remove a color from a texture. If there is a way to do it, let me know in the comments. No, stop that. Okay. Now what we'll do is let's go ahead and actually put the symmetry plane on. We're working harder than we really need to. And what we're going to do is we're going to do this on the sides of the ramp without any color. We're just going to keep it the raw concrete. And if it's not going the right direction, just hit it twice to get it to do that. Sometimes the symmetry plane, though, will mess that up, the directional thing. Whoops. Because you see how this one isn't the same? So you might not be able to use the symmetry plane when you're doing that. Let's do the XY plane on this one. Looks like is it in the middle? Yeah, I think so. I think that's right. It's hard to say for sure. Yeah, same thing here. All right, cool. Did we do over here? I can't remember. We did not. So, we've got our base color down. Now, what we might want to do, just for funsies, is let's put our symmetry plane back on again. We're going to go with our YZ plane. Let's go ahead and do like a border around here. So, we could... What do we got as options for that? How about this? And maybe instead of black, maybe we'll go with a gray. Nope. Okay. And then what we could do next is we could create like some parking lines. So to do that, we want to go into symbols, So we click symbols, and we want to go to here. And what I'm thinking is... let's grab this. That's going to go right in the center. And yeah, I know it's removing the paint, but I actually kind of want it to. The one thing about symbols is you can't click and hold the mouse button down and drag them out like you can with the textures. So you have to press the mouse button for each block that you want to do. Not sure why that is, but it's just the way that it works. Okay, so vessels will potentially come up in the center of all sides. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create like some parking areas in the corners. To do that, I'm going to select these. I'm going to use these guys here. Okay, so let's go ahead and I think we'll keep the black color with these two. So we'll put that down. No, I think that's too far. No, that's good. We'll leave it like that. Okay. Let's also... we kind of... oh, you know what? We kind of actually might want a center line going this way too, now that I think about it. So let's go back to here. Turn the color off. Or no, I had gray on, didn't I? Yeah, okay. Okay. So that kind of gives us our, you know, our divisions better, a little bit better. And then I'm thinking though, let's pull this in a bit. Let's pull this in a bit. There we go. Okay, so we'll go take removal off, go back to here, and let's pull it into here. And of course, you know, the size of your parking area will be dictated by the size of your vessels. We'll put the corner pieces in. Oh, the symmetry plane didn't quite work very well for that. It worked for these, but it got a little confused on the corner pieces. So, you know, now that we know that, let's not do the corner pieces on this one. We'll just put the straights in, and then we'll have to do the corners individually. I forgot about that, but yeah, that's the way it functions. There we go. Okay, we'll turn the plane off. Oops. Come on, quit hitting the wrong button. Now, this we should be able to just squirt it and rotate it the way we need it to go. Oops. Yeah, we're going to have to change those too now, aren't we? So, you know, this just kind of goes to show that the symmetry plane doesn't always work for everything. Let's finish our corners first. Okay, now we got to change these guys. Ah! Hit the wrong thing. There we go. That looks kind of cool. And then if you wanted to, you know, you could put some rails along here. You could do pretty much whatever you wanted to. You could do some pretty cool stuff, you know, for the decorations. We might do, you know, we're not going to get to the building tonight, guys. But so, you know, in fact, we're already way over. Whatever way over even means anymore. The thing about tutorials is it's different than a Let's Play. A Let's Play, you can kind of, you know, work it to where, you know, you're making a 30-minute video, which is generally the accepted length for most Let's Play videos. But with the tutorial, I mean, there's so much stuff to show you guys that I'd rather do longer videos and only have, you know, 25 than shorter videos and have 50, if you know what I mean. Anyway, that's just kind of the way that it's working out, so... Okay, so that being said, I want to do one more thing and then we're going to wrap it up. We're going to put some lights on our pad here. Excuse me. So let me think. Let me think about this. How do I want to do that? I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's do 9 lights. All right, so we'll go here and we want to make sure we're on base and we're just going to queue up 9 lights. So I did a shift click to do 10 and then I just clicked once to remove one of those lights. And then I'm going to show you a couple of cool things that you can do with lights. So I'll wait for those to finish and then when they're done, we'll finish up. So I'll be right back. Alright, I'm just checking on the farm here while we wait for the lights to finish. So everything has matured except for the oranges and the pumpkins, which is normal. Because the oranges and the pumpkins take longer to mature, but they also give you the most yield. One thing, you know, about that too, and I think I talked about this, but if you're going to be around your base a lot, to the point where you can check your garden more frequently, you might be better off planting, say, like tomatoes instead of pumpkins, because tomatoes will mature a little bit faster. However, you know, you'll only get, I think, like half the yield though from the tomatoes. So yeah, you know, it just kind of depends upon what works better for you. I always just go with pumpkins because yeah, they do take longer, but I mean, you get 8 harvest or 8 yield per harvest. So excuse me, it makes the most sense for me. Okay, cool. So everything's looking pretty good in here. Let's see how we're doing on our lights. Okay, we got all of our lights. We need to eat something too, so let's go up here. I made a whole mess of cheeseburgers, as you can see here, from all the meat and stuff that we brought back when we went on that little road trip. Alright, cool. Let's go on out here. Oh, it's an ugly day out. We're going to stand here. Let's put our lights... Oh, I guess we already have the lights on our toolbar. Okay, so what I'm going to do with these lights is we're going to right-click, and you have a few different, you know, types of lights that you can choose from. What I think we'll use for this is... What's this? Light 1 not centered. Oh yeah, okay, so that's offsets it. So this one's centered. So let's just put this one down here, like so. And then what we're gonna do is... Okay, before we put any other lights down, we're going to look at this light, so our crosshair's on it, and we're going to press P for the control panel and go to devices. So when you look at something on your base and then go into the devices menu from the control panel, it will select that device for you, which is very useful, especially when you start working with smaller things like lights and that sort of thing. What I want to do with this light is I'm going to, you have a bunch of different settings that you can set with the light. You can change the color on it. So different colors here. And what we're going to do is we're going to make this red. And then you have some other things here. So spotlight mode will, as you can imagine, make the light more like a spotlight on, you know, spotlight on a stage. So rather than illuminating a whole big area, it'll be a much more narrow focus area. And then if you use spotlight mode, then you can also adjust the angle at which that spot will shine at. We can't really see that very well from here. It would work better if we actually had a light that was on a ceiling and we saw the light shining down. In fact, you know what? We could maybe demonstrate that in here. Let's turn our own light off. If I go and put this into spotlight mode, see how it makes the spotlight like that? And then if I wanted to, if I adjust the spotlight angle, so let's maybe make it 84, see how it's just, it's making a wider angle for the cone itself. So that's how spotlight works. But for this light, this isn't intended to be a spotlight, it's just a light the whole damn base up light. Okay, so that's spotlight. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go here and we're going to look at a couple of things. So you can you can adjust the intensity and the range. So intensity, as you can imagine, makes the light brighter. Actually, it's kind of hard to see this in the daytime. Doesn't seem like it's adjusting at all. Oh, that's because I have it in spotlight mode. Duh, okay. There we go. So you see how it gets more intense? And if you crank this all the way up, it'll kind of oversaturate. So you can see it's kind of oversaturated. So I don't usually use 4 intensity. So 3 is probably about as high as you would ever want to go. In our case, we're probably going to keep this on 1 or 2. Let's start with 2, but then we'll decide later on if we want to, if we think that's too much. Because the purpose of the lights that we're going to do on our landing pad here is we're going to set them up to be, kind of blinking lights for, like for markers. So think of of an aircraft coming in. That's the idea behind it, right? Range, as you can imagine, will increase the range at which this light shines. So that's pretty obvious. But these two things are distinct. So intensity makes the light shine brighter, but what it doesn't do, at least not directly, is it doesn't also increase the range of the light like it would in real life. So you also have to increase how much of an area do you want this light to actually illuminate. So that does not automatically increase by increasing the brightness of the light or the intensity of the light. So you have to adjust those things individually. Again, for our purposes, we actually want to keep these toned down quite a bit. In fact, you know what? Let's just keep it on intensity 1 and a short range 2. Because the purpose of these lights are not to light up the landing pad. They're just simply there to create markers for any aircraft that's coming in. Okay? Now, if you want the light to blink, you can set a blink frequency. So, see? And so it's just a matter of, what you want that frequency to be. And so we might want these to blink at maybe 2-second intervals. That looks pretty good. And then the blink length is how long do you want the light to stay on each time it blinks. So right now it's set to 50%. But if I dumb this down, then it's going to blink very quickly. See? If I turn this up, then it's going to stay lit for a much longer time. And remember, it's still a 2-second interval in between blinks. So now we have the lights on for longer and off for a less amount of time. Okay? And I can't tell you what to set it to. It just depends upon what you're trying to do. But that's the idea behind it. Okay? Now, the blink delay can allow you to set up a how would you put this? Like maybe a chain reaction kind of thing. So what am I doing? Let's hit T. Just to demonstrate this, I'm going to put these lights here like so, okay? And then we're going to go to this light. The other thing I wanted to show you is that if I set down a light and then I make adjustments to it, the game will remember those adjustments, and it will use the same settings for all additional lights that I set down. That is really useful. We're not going to keep these here. I'm just going to demonstrate the delay to you. Okay, so if we go into this light and we add a delay of, say, 1%, and then let's do this one at... I'm gonna, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to go a little higher than that because it's too fast. We're not really seeing it happen. So what if we go with like 5%? I might have to type that in because that slider is really sensitive. Yeah, okay, and this one's at 10%. We'll make this one at 15%. And this one at 20. There you go. So now what you have is that effect, which can be really cool. Okay, that's not what we want to do with these lights. I just wanted to show you how the delay works. If you wanted to create a light that kind of, you know, moves essentially across the, you know, the line or whatever, that's how you would do that. All right, let's go ahead and pick these up. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. 2, 3, 4. How many lights did I make? Got 7 more. Oh, yeah, okay. It took me a second to remember what it was I actually was going to do with these. Okay, so we're going to go over to the corner of the pad now, and let's choose this corner light. Except for that we can't really... Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so that should have... that actually, you know, now that I think about it, that probably has the same settings as the last one we did. Yeah, it does. Okay, so we don't want a delay on this at all. So that way it blinks simultaneously with the center light. Okay, so let's put one in this corner. And one in this corner. And yeah, we could have used the symmetry plane, but didn't think about it. Rotate that. And then we have 3 lights left. We must have looted that off of something. So we can put a light here. You know what might actually make more sense is for us to put the lights on each side of the ramp. I was going to put it in the center, but it actually would make more sense to put them on the sides. That means we're going to need 3 more lights. Okay. And you know, I've done this before too, where sometimes I'll put the lights on the edge of the actual parking spot. You know, it's just whatever seems appropriate for what you're trying to do. And lights, you know, this number of these small lights isn't going to be real significant on power, but you know, they will add up. So you do want to keep an eye on both, you know, CPU usage and you know, and power draw too. But you know, this small number of lights is not going to hardly make a dent in anything, so I'm not too worried about it. But you know, my largest capital vessel that I built has, I don't know, something like 300-400 lights on it in total, and those 400 lights together make a big difference in terms of power draw. So it just depends on, you know, the size and the quantity. Okay, looks like those are done. Am I looking in the wrong thing? I certainly am. Whoops, wrong way. I went out the wrong door. Which door are we going out? This one. Completely got lost there. Let's go with this style. And we want to go right here. Okay. Alrighty. So there's our pad. We have room for 4 things to park. For 4 vessels, I should say, to park. If we wanted to. And we've got, you know, the pathway down the center, coming up the ramps on all sides. Well, on 3 sides. So it's looking pretty good. Why don't we grab our hover vessel? Turn it on, and we'll bring it around and park it on our pad. This thing doesn't turn for shit. Get up there. I'm pressing the left Alt key to get into camera view mode so I can get an overhead view. And then I'm using my arrow keys just to get her nice and straight. And let's put her down. That little chinky chink sound you just heard is the vessel docking with the base. Kill the power. There we go. All right, my friends. That is it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. What we're going to do in the next episode is we're going to get into some actual building. So I think what I'll do is I'll start the next episode in creative mode. And we're going to go through a couple of techniques that you're going to want to know for building, including the selection tool, and also just going to give you a basic block tutorial in creative mode. And then what we'll do is we'll come back here in survival mode, and we'll use our shiny new pad that we created here, and we'll start building some stuff. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, share out the video, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Not too many more to come. Bye bye.